about 6 months ago, I called Tony Bokhoven and I said, you need to run for mayor. And from that day on, Tony and I have been brainstorming. We have been talking with people. We've been listening to people. And now, tonight, Tony Bokhoven, without further ado, is announcing his candidacy for mayor of Pella.
It is an honor to serve this community because we have a really special place to call home. And I feel like tonight is a big night. It's a big night for our community. I wish we were doing this in the town park and the entire town could be a part of it, because it really affects every single person in our community. And I want them to all understand how important this next election is to the state. We don't have to spend the most money to win. We just have to get out and talk, and we have to get people educated. If you think about all the things, or what am I going to run for this year, right, or in this election? And there's a lot of stuff. I tell Lynn all the time that there's so many pots boiling, I wouldn't know which one to stir if I had to pick one first. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get some spending under control. As we've sat through the budget sessions over the last month, it's blown me away at how high the budget is for the city of Pella. They're going to vote on a $55 million budget with a $91 million improvement budget plan for this community for capital improvements. And that's bigger than it's ever been. That $55 million budget is bigger than the county's budget. And we need to step back. We need to take a look at what we're really going to spend that money on and put the priorities up front, not push them all out 5 years like they're doing now. So things like the fire truck. There's a 30-year-old fire truck that's been down for 3 weeks at a time. It's the big ladder truck. Had we not had that ladder truck when the dentist office caught on fire, we'd have likely lost the whole block. So that's one of those things that we need. And right now they've pushed it out into 5 years from now. We can't wait that long. We need another ambulance. We're taking on the ambulance service as a community. The amount of calls that our ambulance department handles in a year's time is staggering. And so we need to make sure that we're properly giving them the tools they need, from the fire department all the way down to the city departments. The electric department, I think we all appreciate every time you flip the switch that the lights come on. They've got equipment, a digger derrick truck that will barely run. They're continuing to pump money into it, but because of how the budget's structured, those things are all getting pushed out. And it's my opinion that we need to bring those things back forward and get those things taken care of so that we can have the things that we all need. Water, we need sewer, we need lights. So that's the first thing. We're gonna take a deeper look at that budget, and we're gonna cut some of that stuff out, and we're gonna bring the important things to the front.
Good job.
The next thing is, thank you. The next thing is, Lynn, Bruce, and I, we've been talking with the county a lot. I've had a couple calls this week with the Iowa Department of Revenue about the loss tax. I'm not against a rec center, if it makes sense. I want to make that very clear. If we can afford a rec center, that's one thing. If we have a place for a rec center, that's another thing. And I feel like that's one of those things that you all need to vote on. And so what we're able to do by ordinance, according to the Department of Revenue, is we can reallocate the loss tax. And so we're going to do that. And we're going to take the rec center out of there. We're going to put it into a referendum and let you all vote on it. And then we're going to figure out. Again, and I want to be clear on that because that rec center comes up a lot. The thing that scares me the most about the rec center is they've approved $1 million worth of engineering service fees already for a road on property they don't own.
There you go. And
the plan to own that property is if they can't get it bought, they'll take it by eminent domain, and that's not right.
Nope.
So I want to put that rec center up for vote. If it makes sense to the community, then we can try to make it make sense. It may not happen next year. It may not even happen the following year. But there's no reason why you shouldn't vote on that. We asked you to vote on a $14 million project to get Pella fiber underway, why wouldn't we ask you the same thing on a $44 million rec center? The community center is still something that's in the front of my mind. We've been talking about that community center a long time, Bruce. How long? A long time. Yeah. And so it's time that we get that done. Probably when Mr. Van Strylen got on the council the first time, you were talking about it then already, I would guess. But right now, there's $5.5 million that they're talking about that is earmarked for the community center. That $5.5 million is going to come out of the general fund, the same place that those engineering service fees are coming from and all these other fees that they're paying. So if they spend it all up front, that's only going to come through the lost tax or through some other way of generating revenue. And so it's my perspective that if we take the rec center out, let you vote on that, focus on taking care of the buildings that we already own and get those back up to where they need to be, that's a wiser way to spend the citizens' money. And so that's one of the things we're going to work toward really, really soon after the election's over. There's a few things up here on the table, and I want to not talk very long because I want to be able to let you guys talk. I'm going to walk around and try to say hi to every one of you. But there's 3 baskets on the end of this table, and everybody's been asking me what the baskets are for. Those baskets, there's a paper in front that represents the other 3 wards that are up for election this fall. And if you have ideas of who should be running or who you think might make a good council member, there's some note cards there. You can write their name on it, stick it in their basket, and then we're going to reach out to them. We want to make sure we get the right people on the council. We want people that want to listen. We want people that want to work. And we want people that really care about our community. So,
say who's up and what ward.
Thank you. Bruce has mentioned who's up in what ward. So the at-large seat is up, which is currently held by Liz Spohr. Dave Hopkins' seat is up, which is Ward 4. And Calvin Banstra's ward is up, which is Ward 2. Right? So those are the three seats that are up for election. If you know people in those areas that want to run or would be good at running, just write their name. Yeah, Deb.
Tony, what do you see looking at Boss Landing?
You know, it started out, we were subsidizing them for about $100,000, I think is when we started doing that, $90,000. And then it slowly crept up over time, and people have thrown the keys on the counter and walked away from it over time. The thing that we have to also think about is there's a change coming with that airport. And that's going to directly affect Boss Landing if they extend that runway. So the long way around the barn of answering your question, Deb, is I think more than just how Boss Landing functions as a golf course, there is going to be some significant conversations around, does it remain an 18-hole course? Where do the holes go that are going to be affected by the runway? I think that Boss Landing conversation is a huge one, and one that we need to step back a little bit and be mindful of what are we going to do there, because none of the answers are cheap. You know what I mean? None of the answers are cheap. Getting somebody to run it is difficult. Golf courses all over the country, all over the state are struggling. So we have to step back, I think, as a community and have a deeper conversation about how we continue, or do we continue to fund that golf course. I'm not suggesting it goes away. I'm just saying we need to have a smarter conversation about how it's being funded and how it's being operated. And I think the airport conversation has to be factored in there as well. But I'm really thankful that you're here. I appreciate it. I would ask you to do one thing for sure. Whether you put $1 in that box or nothing, the thing I want you to do the most is encourage people to go out and vote. Yes. I've lost an election by 7 votes, and that I wish I would have lost by 700, because that 7 votes hurts worse. So please ask people to get out and vote.